In this video, we're going to talk about our next laboratory exercise 3B, which is demonstrating how to use input boxes and buttons with the corresponding callbacks. So this is our handout, and in this project we're going to design a window with the title, with input box, which allows us to enter data right here, with the output box, which is a read-only, display-only box, and a button. So the idea is to allow user to input something in this box and then click this button and be able to read this information and copy it over to display, to duplicate this in the second box. So that's the target idea. So we will use the corresponding types of widgets: FL input, FL output, and button, right? And this is going to be a fluid project as well to put everything together on the user form to enter. Copying Visual Studio project. So we're going to start with our previous lab 3A. So this is a copy of my lab 3A. I already deleted debug directory from here and .vs directory. So I only have fluid project source subfolder and the project files right here. Okay, so I will make a copy of this directly here. Just copy and paste. Okay, and we're going to rename it. So this will be 3B button. I will go ahead and open this project in Visual Studio. Open project. So that's 3B. And open the solution file, which is still named as the previous laboratory. So first step to complete this copy is to open Solution Explorer and rename the remaining parts. So we're going to use this 3B button and rename. And I have a habit of renaming the main file as well. Although the content so far hasn't changed a lot, but it's nice to have a main file corresponding to the name of the project. That's a possibility. Another possibility would be just to name it main.cpp, but it's also a good choice. Alright, so now once we have this in place and our project is ready to go, let's complete the redesign of the user interface in Fluid. So here in Fluid, we're going to, of course, open our Fluid project. So let's make sure that this is the latest project, and make sure that this is the Fluid project that we're going to open. Okay, so this is the Fluid project, and this is the path to project Fluid project on my system, which I'm going to copy right now. So for now, I'll just minimize Visual Studio, and I already have window open, so I'll just close what I have. And now go back to Fluid, right? So Fluid is located under External Fluid. Get started with Fluid. And File, Open. Open, of course, it prompts, points to the previous laboratory, so now just have to move on to the next one. Don't make a mistake of changing the previous Fluid project, because it's exactly the reason why we're making a copy of previous projects, so we can trace back to the previous versions. And this is now the current laboratory 3B button. So open this. It still says Lab 3A, and we'll just probably just follow all the steps right here, and we can give it a proper caption right here from the beginning. So double click Properties, a label for the window, and we'll just change that to this full name right now. Close. Okay, so that's nice. Next step, Notice, of course, that we already have since prior work we've done with Fluid class, we already have the class that Fluid creates to control the window, and really the only thing that we handle inside this class, or what we really have, is the Fluid window constructor. It's the constructor that creates this double window for us, and we give it the name WinApp, which basically our application window that we have. Okay, so this is what we have so far in Fluid, and I'll now go back to where I left off, adding widgets. First, we're going to add the input box. So we can try new text input, or we can try the widgets. If we go to edit and show widget bin like this, all right, so we can place it somewhere convenient like this. And it's important that when you use the widget bin, make sure that you actually select the target window. This really kind of needs special attention all the time. So if you're working here, just make sure that you select the double window. Otherwise, it will appear like it's not working. But really, this needs to be in focus in the tree view of our project so that we can start adding things here. So you can click here, and you see that the widget gets added here. So it appears to be like a small object on top of this form. So this is called the input box right here. So we're going to name it input box. And I guess I can type in the label input. Okay, so label input will appear in front of the box. You see that the label gets resized automatically, and we can use these handles to adjust the size of the actual input widget. All right, so this is good enough, I guess. And now to specify the name of this control, go to C++ tab and just use the name for input box. Once again, make sure that you spell everything correctly, because if we're populating this form with all sorts of identifiers, and then if we try to copy and paste some code fragments, all the names have to match. So just be sure to follow this handout as close as possible, because that's how it's expected to compile correctly in the end. We can add callbacks to this widget, but we're not going to. The callback for input control is invoked when the input box loses its input focus. Like, for instance, if the user is typing here and then clicks somewhere else, the box loses the focus. So then the callback function is invoked. And also, as we keep typing, again, callback function will be invoked, so we can basically react to every character typed by the user. I don't have a plan to add any callbacks to this box. We'll just allow user to enter data in here. The output box is sort of like a sister type of control, but it's a read-only box, and it'll have very similar appearance as this. Just again, make sure that when you are about to use the widget bin, make sure that your window is selected. So here, this control over here says output, so it gets added somewhere. I will move it, and once again try a label that says output. Okay, so we just see where the output and where the input is. Of course, we can also resize this, pretty much keep the same size. In the C++ tab, we can enter the name, and it's going to be called outbox. Okay, so this is all we need as a minimum to add these inputs to the form. I'm going to close it now, and of course we can align everything as we like. There's a way to display the grid and align with the grid or without the grid, but now we have these two. Of course, it's always a good idea to save the progress that we're making.